of telling you what's
Yeah,
going
so
on
No,
without
that's a vibe.
interrupting. Does that make sense or no? Or do you
That
want me to just say
that's totally kosher with me. Like I do the same
okay?
thing.
Because
Just
I
giving
don't
you a
like
heads up.
so
people.
so you kind of like it.
Huh?
Can you talk about like the near death experience?
Yes, because my near death experience was actually really wild, and we got other updates which make it even freakier.
Okay, that out.
Ooh, I want to hear this.
Yeah. Also, like 90% of the people surrounding me are really, really pissed off with my friends who thought it was going to be funny to, give me tainted drugs that they knew were tainted as a birthday present.
Horrible.
Wow, yeah, I'm so sorry that happened. You know, like we kind of actually to, to to tell you honestly, I mean, after Carrie Lee Crum kind of, I'm recording this by the way, I don't care.
Yeah.
After Carrie Lee Crum kind of threw us all under the bus, and I was kind of really, really counting on her, because man, you think you know somebody for your
Oh
friends
yeah.
for 3 years, and she called me
Dude,
her little sister, man.
the people who did this to me were part of my wedding party.
Oh man.
Like
Oh wow.
that's why like I thought that was just doing a small birthday bump of ketamine. No, my piss test shows it. I had an ecstasy overdose that was mixed in with buprenorphine. That's an opioid.
Oh,
Is
okay.
it you let me look that up.
Oceana,
So
before the Zoom meeting, I was trying to do. I don't do like a lot of makeup, but I was doing my eyeliner and eyeshadow, and I was thinking, I wonder what Oceana would say if I hit her up for like makeup tips while while getting ready, because
dude,
like sometimes I don't always know what I'm doing with it, and so I just keep it real simple and basic, and I just put
So
on like cream eyeshadow.
okay, so I'm just looking at the buprenorphine. Fuck. Okay, so buprenorphine sublocated buprenorphine extended release. Okay, buprenorphine is an opioid medication used to treat opioid use disorder. So to reduce cravings and withdrawal symptoms. So it's actually a kind of like a
like
methadone
methadone.
kind of thing.
Okay.
And we have Ken Goffman, aka Are You Serious? Is in the house. So
Yeah,
we have
like
yeah, so Oceana was just telling us about her near-death experience when she overdosed on buprenorphine and ecstasy, I believe. Um,
yeah, and I'm allergic to ecstasy, and they knew that. That's the real icing on the shit cake.
and these are friends of yours, right?
Were these were in my wedding party.
Wedding party. So isn't that a band? Or that's funeral
Like
party?
There was
Which
one
one?
whatever it is, I'm not partying with them anymore.
Okay,
I
good.
actually announced my retirement from raving clubbing. I'm not even
Because
gonna show up to my husband's set when he plays anymore because I was like, it just hurts too much at this point.
because we need you this side. I mean,
Yeah,
you're already undead. So you're literally a fucking vampire.
yeah, that was the part that really freaked out the hospital staff. Like I flatlined 3 times and they were like looking at the sensor and the sensor was flat, but I was still talking to them.
So perversely, and I mean, like just think of the company we keep people like Billy Martin and David J. Haskins, but um, so you're honestly, I have a feeling that I can hear Billy Martin chuckling. You know, I'll just be totally honest with you. Yeah, so we did hear from Billy Martin, who regretfully, can't do the show. He's having some issues with hey Ken,
Hey, how's it going?
Hey,
good. So we were
looking
just
sharp.
Look at
Hi.
good, my friend. So you were just, can you hear the music at all or?
Hmm?
Oh, can you hear the music?
I can't hear any music.
Oh, okay. I'm just, I tried, I should never try new shit, you know, like, well, and this is just how I am. I think it has to do with neurodivergency and just being wired,
Yeah,
completely askew to everybody else. So,
you
um,
good.
we're already recording because I thought, it's Burroughs, right? I mean, Burroughs is, we have Destiny Pifer in the house. So, hey, everybody.
Hey,
We are here with some legends of their respective disciplines, if you want to call it that, discipline and punish. Um, so we have, in order of my screens here, we have Alea Celeste Williams, aka Pickles, the co-founder of the Small Bear and Pickle Show. Alea is many things. She's a fine artist, and I met Alea online through Reddit TI groups, and we began discussing, conspiracy theories. They're not really conspiracy theories. That's the term that the CIA created to discredit,
Yeah,
people who are, you know, victims of MK Ultra and their horrific cyber warfare
Fearmo.
against
Yeah.
against
For
us.
genetic manipulation in some
Genetic
people's
Yeah.
cases.
manipulation, et cetera.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a legacy thing. So Aaliyah's family is a legacy. They're legacy activists. They're Quakers. Her grandfather was driven out of New Orleans by the Ku Klux Klan. They were targeted by the Ku Klux Klan. Because he officiated at, weddings between black and white people, and I guess that was a bridge too far for fucking, Klansmen. And so believe that he then, lived in Detroit for a while and
They moved up. Well, they eventually made their way up to like Three Rivers, which I'm not exactly sure. I think it's more like toward the mid or north part of Michigan, if I'm not mistaken. But
okay,
then they also moved. Then they ended up going further north, and they ended up settling in Traverse City.
okay,
Although they probably, yeah, but they did move around a while before,
okay.
like
And then we
getting all
have
the way up there.
Kumari Sharma has joined us from West Nepal. Welcome, Til. How are you today?
Hello, hi.
Hi, it's really good to see your face. So I'm just introducing the people that we have, and we're waiting for Larry Jaffe, who's going to be joining us. Our guests are Alea Celeste Williams. Alea Celeste Williams is is a human rights activist and animal rights activist, animal lover, um, and a dear friend of mine for the last 3 years. She's the person to whom I owe everything, including,
Oh,
bringing me back from the dead, literally, man. Like I was, because I have a brain disease. And she helped me to begin writing again. She began, you know, to begin editing and publishing again. And she's a really, really, really good artist. I mean, you should see her stuff. And also, I guess lately, more recently, her main claim to fame is we published a book called Thunderstruck, and yeah, Thunderstruck. I've got a copy here. Thunderstruck is a collection of dark poetry, and I hope that, we'll get a chance to have you read from this book, Aaliyah.
okay.
It's a collection of dark poetry that was created by our mutual friend, Sandy DeLuca, who's a novelist, journalist, fine artist, in Providence, Rhode Island. She did the cover art for this book, as with my dark poetry collection, The Flowers of Doom, which I'm just I'll be mentioning it anyway. But among the accolades for Flowers of Doom, John Shirley wrote Alex S. Johnson is the Baudelaire of our time, the poet of the underground, which to me is just an accolade from the likes of John Shirley. Is, you know, that's gold, that's fucking platinum. I don't know. They would have to create a new, you know, precious gem or mineral or vegetable or something to accommodate that level of praise. Um, anyway, Thunderstruck, a dark poetry collection, and the design was done by our longtime friend and associate Adrian Baldwin, who works with Phantasmagoria magazine and Trevor Kennedy. So shout out to Adrian Baldwin. He's long suffering because I don't pay him nearly enough, as he's worth. Thunderstruck had the distinction of earning us a rave review in Cemetery Dance magazine, and they were particularly fond of Pickles' work. So that's Pickles, and Pickles is in all of our books, including our recently released all-star tribute to Bauhaus, which contains work by I'll just a few names, Alea here, of course, our dear friend Hazel Ann Lynch, who's the creator of Senior Fluffy, A Cat's Tale. We have, of course, our friend Ellen Mabey, who's the internationally acclaimed poet and actress and musician, and she played herself in the movie Dancing at the Blue Iguana opposite Sandra Oh, in a movie that also starred Daryl Hannah and Jennifer Tilly. We have John Shirley, of course, the co-creator of Cyberpunk with William Gibson, Rudy Rucker, Sterling, and Mr. Goffman here, and we have Sandy DeLuca, who's the co-author of Thunderstruck. We have Richard Modiano, who's the emeritus executive director of Beyond Baroque, which under his watch, people like myself, Amanda Gorman, the Youth Poet Laureate of the United States, read for the first time at Beyond Baroque. Beyond Baroque is where John Doe and Exene Cervenka met. Also, Exene Cervenka is a huge fan of Ellen Mabey and edited her book, The Cowardice of Amnesia. So, and then we have Crissa Velisario, who's the National Beat Poet Laureate of Romania, not of Romania, I keep thinking of Greece. We have Carrie Lee Crome, who was the co-founder with Joan Jett of a little band called The Runaways. You may have heard of them. Who's among whose songs are Waiting for the Night, California Paradise is featured in the major motion picture, The Runaways, starring Dakota Fanning and Kristen Stewart, and Secrets, and many, many other songs. And we have Jeribo, the industrial goth pioneer, former co-leader of Swans, Tara Vanflower from the band Lycia, is the co-leader of the band Lycia, who's collaborated with little band called Type O Negative, and went on tour with them as well. Among her many, many distinctions, her fans include, according to Vice magazine, Trent Reznor. And that's just a handful of the people we have in this book. We also have, and I'll just keep going. We also have a note from a fan by our dear friend Ossiana Tepfenhart here, and Oh, and the foreword was written by a man named who goes under the pen name Poppy Seabright. Billy Martin wrote the foreword, and it's a real honor. Um, and speaking of Poppy, Billy Martin says that he's sorry that he would love to be on the show, but he's having some issues. Like we all have mental health issues. I mean, particularly with this fucking insane fascist regime, which is our worst nightmare here. So Billy Martin is also wrote the introduction to the William S. Burroughs tribute anthology, which we're going to be talking about, which we're all in except for Destiny Pifer, who is in two of our major anthologies. And then I guess one more of Caitlin R. Kiernan, according to is in this book. According to the New York Times, Caitlin is um, um, one of our essential writers of dark fiction. They are a two-time winner of the World Fantasy and Bram Stoker Awards, and among other distinctions, including having an IQ that is higher than Einstein's, and also working as a vertebrate paleontologist, and what else? A biology professor at the University of Alabama. So that is just an aside. Um, the how this book came about is because about approximately 5-6 months ago, when I was putting together this Bauhaus book, this I mean not I'm sorry this the William S. Burroughs tribute anthology. I was aware, and I was always, for the last 40 years, I've been the world's biggest Bauhaus fan. And so I knew that David J. Haskins, who is the founder member of Bauhaus and Love and Rockets. I mean, when you just consider that for most people, just, you know, having met, somebody like that would be enough to preserve as and for your cerebral spank bank, if you will. But to actually be working with him, and I approached him about the Burroughs anthology because I knew that he and my friend Jeremy Reed, who's a poet in England, is a very distinguished poet. He's sort of considered like the modern day John Keats. And he and David collaborated on some 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 songs that were kind of like early cut up. He took like Burroughs, Burroughs text, and he cut it up, and then with Jeremy, and then David set it to music, right? And David is a huge self-described Burroughs obsessive, and he also used Burroughsian cut-up techniques on this little song called Anybody. Okay, come on now, people, work with me. Anybody. Well, take your pick, Who Killed Mr. Moonlight, or a song about a dead Hungarian actor who may not be as dead as he appears. And I'm talking, of course, about Bela Lugosi's dead. And so I approached David about contributing to the Bauhaus, the Burroughs tribute anthology. And within 2 days, he turned around an original poem called El Hombre Invisible, which is about the accidental shooting death of Joan Volmer Burroughs in Mexico City, which is the incident that, and then of course, I'm really looking forward to hearing Ken's perspective on that, because he knew and worked with Burroughs, that you know Burroughs attributed the shooting death of Joan Vollmer, Burroughs, to basically, the entrance of what he called the ugly spirit into his life, and that kind of changed that set him on the course to being an actual writer and trying to exorcise this awful, this awful tragic accident from his system. He believed that he was possessed by some form of spirit possession. And then we have Ossiana Tepfenhart, who actually approached me through my Substack, the Small Bear Review. And maybe you could just pick that up, Oceana, because yeah. So
So I was like really impressed with a lot of the stuff that was going on with Small Bear, and when he was pretty much like, yeah, I love your work, and yeah, we could be in a book, and you could work with John Shirley. Like I remember, like I just kind of like went nonverbal for a bit.
You did.
If I remember correctly, I just started flapping my arms and just like sputtering something.
you went full pterodactyl.
And
Yay!
I wasn't sure, like, and
We
Steve
have a
was like,
vote for pterodactyls.
yeah,
Yeah.
Steve was just kind of like,
Let me try
did my wife just get broken?
Yeah. I think I absolutely blew your mind, which is difficult for a person with your history. And so, okay, so then so you know yeah, so Oceana approached me through I guess through my subscriber messages for the Small Bear Review, and then basically within 2 days, they were saying, "Hey, we're two peas in a pod," and I was like, so I started to look up, Oceana's work, and I watched some of your videos that you did. I mean, you have so much. I hate the word content. I will just tell you right now. I will hate
I hate that word too.
content, but in this case, um, and also
Word.
the whole concept of influencers kind of gives me
It's
the nervous fear as William
it's
Mike
such a
discussed.
poison pill because when I say I'm an influencer, they're like, "Oh, you're one of the weirder ones," and I'm like, "Yes, but no. I actually do stuff that does not include peddling beef tallow moisturizer on TikTok."
Yes, you're a legend, and let me tell you something about this person, Ossiana Teppenhart, is among other things is a journalist with the adult film industry, and is like I love the fact that Ossiana is totally open about that, and it's not, and it's no, slut shaming, or any kind of, um, concern about being openly queer and openly, transgender and openly a fucking weirdo and a vampire, literally is a vampire. Among their accomplishments is they have 50,000 paid subscribers on Medium alone.
All
Um,
fans.
and what on
50,000 fans on Medium. I mean, they
50
are all
50,000.
Medium members, but
Okay,
like,
okay,
yeah.
medium members. Okay, thank you for that correction. So you have uh okay, so fans, you have 50,000 fans, and we'll be talking about how any of us can kind of, weaponize that for ourselves to monetize our own brand. Um, your first article for Medium went mega viral, by which I mean it had 500,000 views.
Actually, it's more than that.
More than 500,000
Yeah.
views. So you're a fucking rock star. Who else is a rock star and also a contributor to us, Ma Yangbo, but we'll talk about how he sold 500,000 copies of his translation of Moby Dick into Chinese.
Oh, wow.
Um, so Oceana is the founder of a alternative leftist news organization called Last News on the Left, and I love the fact that that's obviously reference to the Wes Craven film, which in itself was a sort of a kind of a slasher remake of a film by Ingrid and not Ingrid. That would be interesting. Ingmar Bergman called The Virgin Spring. And so Last House on the Left. And we're all kind of fans of gore, splatter punk, cyberpunk, transgressive fiction. I don't know about Till, but Till has contributed to the Bauhaus book and the forthcoming Burroughs book. So that is just a few of Ossiana's accomplishments. Um, then we have, where do we begin with Are You Serious? I mean, I Ken
Original
Goffman,
gangster.
he's the OG. He's the goth father. He's the cyber father of us all. Man, the man is beyond legendary. He worked with, he founded this neo psychedelic movement, which included people like Kathy Acker, William S. Burroughs, Trent Reznor, Bruce Sterling, William Gibson, Rudy Rucker. Was Pat Cadigan part of that?
Um, yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Okay, so Pat and I had the distinction of working with Pat on the Jason X series for New
Mm.
Line Cinema with the novelization series. Anyway, that's just a little aside. So Ken was a member of the Yippies with Jerry Rubin and others. A and He ran for president on the Revolutionary Party ticket, which I'm really looking forward to hearing about. He was in a relationship with Kathy Aker, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah,
and
Acker. Yeah.
and uh, a co-founder of the magazines Mondo 2000 and Reality Hackers, and which were foundational. He's a cyber culture progenitor. That is just a, he also founded the band Mondo Vanilli. He's a songwriter. Where do I even begin? So the man is a revolutionary, and hopefully, in a sort of a collective paw way. That's shout out to Ellen Maybe, collective paw. We are all going to be um, the sort of the bringing the hard paw to fascism. I know that John Shirley is down for the ride. We have Then we have another extremely distinguished author and journalist and uh, awesome human being, Destiny Pifer. Destiny Pifer is a journalist who's contributed to such magazines as I believe Reader's Digest,
And she's a model in training.
as a model
I'm
in
helping her
training.
out with that.
Yes, and she's a model in training. We're helping, Oceana's helping her out with that. She's a novelist with Unveiling Nightmares. And what was the house that echoed madness, I believe,
Yes.
is the
Yeah.
name of your debut novel. So that came out last year. Congratulations again on all of your, distinctions. Very proud of you. And Destiny, among many other things, is a contributor to our forthcoming anthologies. We Are Gregor, a disability rights anthology, which has so many, so many, so many wonderful people in it, including our friend Jeffrey Thomas, who is a kind of a legend in he's also in the Burroughs book. He's the creator of Punk Town, right? We have Lyric Rivera. Lyric Rivera is AKA Neurodivergent Rebel, one of the biggest influencers on the planet, fighting against fascism, a good friend of ours. And, next to, I think that Oceana and Lyric and are two major influencers. God help us all, and as well as um, Destiny is also a contributor to our another another book which we're putting out back to back with the Burroughs anthology. and it's called Hand of Doom, a literary tribute to Black Sabbath. I hope that Ken might contribute something or other to the Black Sabbath book, but I think that the Sabbath book is really um, extremely important because all of the proceeds to for the Black Sabbath book go to Dr. Lois Lee, who's the founder of Children of the Night Incorporated in 1979. She's an attorney and also a sociologist, and she has a PhD in sociology as well as being an attorney. She's worked with world governments and the FBI, the CIA, the Homeland Security, and yeah, they're the bad guys, but they're also like they're part of the architecture of our. We wouldn't have like DARPANet, you know, AKA, cyberspace, AKA, the World Wide Web, AKA, the internet without the military. So, and as
And
well as
also, there's like
as
a
well
lot
as
of people that are trying to help out that are
exactly.
getting into those agencies as well, I think.
Yeah,
Exactly, as well as we
like
wouldn't have LSD without the CIA.
I mean, the feds kind of helped me out with my sex trafficking case.
Okay, so right,
So yeah.
exactly, and
Mhm.
and so this the Black Sabbath book is beyond amazing. You think the other books are pretty cool, right? Um, so who do we have? I'm just as far as other contributors to the Black Sabbath book. We have Christy Nogle, who's won the Bram Stoker Award for, and these are all originals. Okay, these are all originals. Who won the Bram Stoker Award for Beulah. We have Ai Zhang, who won um, the a Nebula Award and a Bram Stoker Award last year, and some other award. She's crazy, crazy talented, and she's a Chinese American, not Chinese, Chinese Canadian person, and really, really brilliant, brilliant writer, legend. We have my old friend Lucifer Fulci from the band Penis Flytrap, currently with a band called the Lords of October. But the Penis Flytrap, their singer is none other than Dinah Cancer from 45 Grave. And and then their guitarist is a woman named Leslie Spivey, aka Elvorian von Spivey, who I'm writing a book, with Leslie Spivey with Alex S. Johnson. It's about her close friendship and her relationship with a guy she lived with for for 20 years, a man named uh, uh, Kenneth Anger, the filmmaker, who was one of the greatest influences on people like John Waters and Martin Scorsese. And that is a tangled web, my friends. I mean, that involves people like Aleister Crowley, the Great Beast 666, without whom we wouldn't have heavy metal. And Anton LaVey, Bobby Beausoleil, who was a member of the Manson family and was also a close friend of theirs, and of Ken Anger and Leslie. So anyway, those are just a couple. We have an original story by John Shirley, a man who you co-created cyberpunk, is a songwriter for Blue Oyster Cult, and is all over basically the last several albums by Blue Oyster Cult, and is also wrote the screenplay to a little film called I don't know, The Crow. So, and we're all fans of Shirley's. Then we have Til not last but not least, we have Til Kumari Sharma, and I'm going to read Til's biography from the that's the wrong book. Okay, right. So remember this, viewers, anybody who's tuning in to us, forward by Poppy Z Bright, et cetera, et cetera. It's got Til Kumari Sharma, who's one of the Asian voices that we have in this book, including Ma Yangbo. We'll talk about Ma Yangbo a little later. Oh, we have Nancy Kilpatrick. Nancy Kilpatrick is one of the people that I
Thank you very
collaborated
much.
with. Yes, on the Jason X series. Okay, so Til Kumari Sharma is a multi-award-winning poet, feminist, and writer from Nepal, celebrated for contributions to global literature. Also known as Pushpa, Sharma is currently studying at Singhania University in Rajasthan, India, and writes about humanity and morality. Welcome to the show, Til. Til also contributed a poem to the Burroughs tribute anthology, and later I'm going to ask Til to read from that poem, and I'm hoping that we can all read from our respective works a little bit. So
Thank
I
you.
thank you so much, Til,
Thank you very much.
for honoring us with your presence. Um, so I don't know what happened to Pickles. So this is sort of like,
She's grabbing a copy of Thunderstruck just in case you want.
yeah, yes, I very, very much want that.
And I managed to get my cat to quiet down. He's now in his dress.
Aw, aw,
I mean,
aw.
no, it does have an Asian and slightly Tibetan look to it. So,
Oh my
Hi,
God.
cute animal.
Aw, aw. The
he's
cuteness
a
is
diva,
real.
right? He's a little diva. Look at that.
Aw,
Yeah, sorry about that.
aw.
I think you heard some cats meowing and howling. That was mostly him asking for his dress. He does this sometimes.
Well,
Yeah.
I was just saying that
Yeah,
howl,
very interesting dress.
whether animal or human or is very beat, so it's kind of appropriate. So
Cute.
okay, so we have Pickles, Alea Celeste Williams in the house, the brilliant and beautiful Alea Celeste Williams, aka Pickles, and Pickles will be reading from Thunderstruck, a dark poetry collection.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All
You
right.
just happen to
Where
have a copy
would
of
you?
it.
I do. I just had to
Yeah.
run and grab it. Did you have a specific one you
That's what
wanted?
she wanted.
You get me every time with that one. I don't know why that one never gets old to me. I love it though.
So, could you read Surreal City, please?
Sure. Okay, one moment. Let me. There it is. Okay. Surreal City. Okay. With warm strokes making a clear course along a cool coast, the sun rises, making its impact here, shining, making us alive. Animals open their eyes. Some of them are dying down. Some of them have gone to sleep. Some seldom sleep at all. I come from the nights without sleep, puzzled but in one piece at least. The sun comes without conceal as I study and stray, cutting across the taboo as a trespasser. The sun comes shining again, telling me to wake up when I never slept. I hear new languages as I walk with fiery legs in the surreal city. Adults say the strangest things, but it takes courage just to speak. Neither you nor I are from around here, and we do things differently at home.
Yeah, that's really, really powerful. Could you tell us a little bit about how you came up with this poem?
Um, oh my gosh, that's a good question. I don't know. Always like to use nature imagery in mine my poetry. And I think this was probably one of my more therapeutic ones, like just trying to the Surreal City, I guess, it was just a kind of like a nickname I came up for a city that you're like that's like a lot different from where you're used to living. Kind of like down here, I live in Monroe, and it's pretty rural. And so, like, when I was going up to Ann Arbor, it would be back when I was younger, it seemed almost surreal to me
Right.
because there'd be like, they had like the gum wall, or like, I don't know why, of all the things.
Gum wall?
What's a gum wall?
Of all the things, I'm sorry.
Can you chew it or
Concerns Jersey girl intensifies over here.
People would like put their chewed up bubble gum of various colors all over this wall inside of this alley, and they all different colors of years of thousands and thousands of people's wads of chewed up bubble gum on this
it's
wall.
literally bubble gum?
Yeah, in an alley. It's like a if the alley has, I don't know, usually it has like some graffiti, like different colored graffiti on the walls, like graffiti art, but there's one part that's just completely gum.
That sounds like some fucked up bizarro noir.
The proper term in the tri-state where I live, that's called a subway.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Wow. And so yeah, so as far as also you're a fine artist, and you have Alea has a degree in art, associate's degree in art, and so how do you feel about like the you know, do you source the same inspiration for your writing your poetry as from you know, art? And you know, I know that you're in love with nature and animals.
Yeah.
Is that kind of part of the, you know, DNA of your inspiration? That
Oh yeah, for sure. I always have loved nature and animals ever since I was really young. Like I used to actually I think when I was 2 or 3 years old, I managed to wander off into the woods and just go exploring all by myself, and no one knew where I was for a while. And I found my way back no problem, but I was just like exploring, and I was just fascinated by it. And then oh yeah, and then I like climbing trees when I was really young, and we had cats, and we lived in well, when we were young, we grew up in a rural town called, like, my really young childhood was Martin, Michigan, and we lived on a lake, and it was really beautiful. It was really nice there. And so I don't know, I've always had a nice, like, I'm always in my element when I'm near like a body of water. I have a river in my backyard, which I'm so very blessed to be able to have a home and be able to walk out my backyard and look at the river. It's really peaceful. So yeah, I use that for therapy. You know, my poetry is a lot of just kind of trying to come up with ways to express abstract feelings and concepts, I guess, but with imagery that is, you know, I don't know. A lot of times I like to just keep it really comforting, but then sometimes, you know, sometimes I'll get sometimes I'll get a little more vulgar or like I'll have like a rage poem every once
I
in a
love your
while.
I love your rage poems. Like so one of them, one of this was that blew my mind when I was having a particularly tough time because I have a lot of haters. And and
They
Alea,
jelly.
Alea Alea kind of spontaneously wrote this poem which was inspired by a couple of different
Bella.
sources. One of
Bella
which is
Lugosi's
oh, remind me, Pickles, to talk about the Dear Bela thing,
dead.
Dear Bela readings, because or the Dear Bela, the whole Dear Bela phenomena, the chapbook, because we need to talk about that. It's very important to in terms of both Bauhaus and Burroughs, and yeah, Bauhaus and Burroughs, and um, so Alea came up with this poem, which was one of the sources was, and you'll hear kind of echoes of Bela Lugosi's dead in this poem, but as well as a routine by Richard Pryor, right? Called like what was it like? Bitch, we ain't dead, or I ain't dead, or something like that, right?
Yeah, honestly, I can't even remember which specific routine or like which show it was. I think, but it was like I don't know. I remember getting to watch like a lot of his just recorded ones because like my mom would rent movies. My mom and dad would do that, and so we would get to check out their favorite comedians. And he just had closed one of his shows by saying I ain't dead yet, bitches. And I don't know why. I just thought it was like the funniest thing. And it just like permanently etched itself into my brain. And I don't know. I just think Richard Pryor is hilarious.
It's also kind of a cut up. It's kind of a cut up, and as well as spliced in um, the Doors.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So could you read Blood Red for us?
Sure.
Which is, by the way, Blood Red, a quote from Blood Red starts out Thunderstruck, um, because we've got basically our own like little internally referential universe at Nocturnicorn Books. No bitch, we ain't dead yet is the epigram that opens up this book. Thunderstruck. Available on Amazon in all formats.
Okay. All right. I shall read Blood Red.
Yeah.
And I apologize for my language, by the way. I swear more than I should.
Shitballs.
But it does kind of help me get out some of my feelings. So yeah. So it was kind of just Alex was having a rough day, and I just wanted to like do him a solid and write him something that shows, oh, I get how you feel today.
Collective
I
paw.
I feel your pain. Like I feel your rage. If like you've got a friend if you need me here. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just kind of like a
sure do.
moral
Sure do.
support
Love you
thing.
so much.
So, but okay, so I'll read it to you. So Blood Red. Upset, upset. No, bitch, we ain't upset. Yes, we heard what you said. Dead yet, dead yet. No, bitch, we ain't dead yet. And no, I'm not upset. Dead yet, dead yet. No, bitch, I ain't dead yet. And yes, I heard what you said, and I ain't gonna let you get ahead. Live rent free in my head. Never forget, I turn over instead. Contest, object. No, I am not oppressed. A nation in distress won't let you get ahead. Ahead. Forgive, never forget. You will live to regret your every attempt at offense. Upset. Yeah, bitch, that's what I said. Go ahead, go ahead. You want to taste a shot of blood? No, bitch, we ain't dead yet. Blood red. Everybody's red blooded. I could not care less. Live rent free in your head. Obsessed, at best, just a little tiny pest. wallow in a mire under my step. No, bitch, we ain't dead yet. Didn't expect me to resurrect. Everybody's red blooded. The best, the best. Living rent free in your head. No, I am not oppressed because I'm from the West.
West.
Go ahead, go ahead. Try to blow me down. Gonna ricochet. No, bitch, we ain't dead yet. Not when we're from the West. The best, the best. Never forget, every single one of us is red blooded. The West, the West. That's why we are the best. The best, the best. The best, the best, the best.
Best.
The best, the best, the best. I have it like 6 times in a row. I don't know. It's kind of silly.
But it's a rap. So I want to remind people that this is a rap. It's a battle rap. So it demands to be set to music. Let's see. Okay, so that's Blood Red, and that's going to be featured in our book Blood Red Romance, which we're writing. Have a number of books together. I didn't even mention the books that I'm writing with Ossiana, and so thank you so much, Alea. We're squeezing. And so squeezins. And yeah, so Ossiana and I are collaborating on a couple of things. One is something that Ossiana created a couple of years ago. It's called the Rainbow Travel Guide. Could you tell the peoples about Rainbow Travel Guide?
Originally, I made a mini travel guide on how to survive traveling America as either a minority or LGBT person. And I gave them a list of like the highest risk states, the lowest risk states. I put a map of all the transgender laws, all the bathroom laws that were there at the time of the writing, which is going to have to be expanded now. I gave them an entire guide on like civil rights groups that they can contact if they end up getting harassed by police, unrightfully stopped, harassed for using the bathroom, barred entry based on race or gender or obvious like religion stuff. Like I myself, I'm not Christian. I am in fact a Kemetic pagan. So yeah, you could imagine a lot of the Christo-fascist moves that have been happening have been scaring the daylights out of me. And that book actually flopped because at the time, I don't think that people realized how bad things have gotten. Because they're like, oh, maybe it's just like for gay people. I'm like, no, you don't understand. So after all that happened, Alex actually approached me and he was like, I saw you made this book. Why didn't you ever update? I was like, because the amount of money I made off of it was enough to get a pizza from Domino's. Like not even like the good pizza around the corner. No, we had to go to the pizza with Domino's, which is just not done in my area. Let me tell you.
Let me tell you.
Right? I was like, but like we kind of realized that it's 2025. There is a fascist dictator in office. Our rights are under attack.
Worst timeline.
Like literally the worst timeline. And there's a lot of people who like they don't even know how to survive right now. Because for a lot of us, like myself included, we've been targeted because we're trans. Like I might not look trans, but I have gender dysphoria. I've written about like my fear of going into women's changing rooms and like how I sometimes puff myself up. I'm like, what? And I realize that does not help me look feminine at all, but you know what I mean? But because of the nature of what our country is currently going through, I think that this book is very important. And I think that it's not just about travel. At this point, I think it's about brute survival and talking about like how to expatriate, how to emigrate, how to deal with ICE agents if they stop you at the border. These are things that we're going to have to actually bring out. And it's scary to say that, but I'm really happy that I have Alex on board with me doing all the research because at this point we need it. And we also need, like, at this point, one of the other projects I want to do after the book is done is I actually want to get awards that say certified safe space, all are welcome.
Yeah.
Because like, pardon me, I'm gonna get a little bit emotional here, but one of my friends, one of my good friends from the same scene that recently poisoned me, she was actually attacked and put into critical condition.
Holy shit. I'm so sorry.
Hate crimed in the middle of New York City, and they don't tell you this shit happens because like Brooklyn is supposed to be as welcoming as possible, but like obviously that didn't happen with my friend. The last words that she heard before they knocked her out was fag.
Holy shit.
So
yeah, it's gotten bad up in Brooklyn and New York.
like they don't tell you that stuff, but I want this book to be rehashed. I want it to be refreshed because I feel like that's the only way I can really fight back sometimes.
And I just wanted to add too that I had created, this is a long story to that, but in 2015, I created a book that was, there was a trans girl who committed suicide by walking into a Mack truck, and her name was it Layla? I think Layla. And so I created this. I had the idea of doing it sort of a tribute to her. I was working with these awful people. I didn't know that they were like fucking fascists. Anyway, down in these publishers down in Dallas Fort Worth area.
Don't
But
even tell me about them because I know who you're talking about, but don't even say it.
I won't say it. I won't say it. So anyway,
Bro, thank
but
you for
these
that.
people were tied in with the CIA and they're bad news, and with some fascist fucking racist police. And so anyway, I created this book, and then I approached Billy Martin, Poppy Z. Bright, about writing a forward, and he expressed interest in that. And then it was taken away from me because apparently they made up a whole raft of shit, including that I'm a convicted sex offender and whatever, and that was when the murder threats began, 2015. So based on those, allegations. And so over the years, then in 2017, I keep trying to revive, this book called, it transformed into Riot Pink Presents Embracing Justice. And in 2017, I created a new imprint of Nocturnicorn Books called Riot Pink. And I kept trying to get this book off the ground, including last year, I approached my former friend, the transgender, writer in South Africa, South Africa, Christina Engela, is a real shit, but that's another story for another time. And I said, hey, because I wasn't out yet, and so I said I needed another verified, like TM, transgender TM person, authenticated transgender person to sort of, work with me on this. And they didn't really want to work with me at all. Long story short. So then that died on the vine as well. I tried to put out calls for submission, and at some point last year I was accused of transphobia by some people. I won't name them, but they're part of the transgender horror author in San Francisco who's works closely with the Horror Writers Association, which I'm no longer a part of. And I was accused of transphobia by them and by a woman named Paula D. Ashe, who's the author of We Are Here to Hurt Each Other, whose story, All the Hellish Cruelties of Heaven, I commissioned, and it was a story that appeared in print for the first time in my book, Axes of Evil, a heavy metal horror anthology, which came out in 2015. And so no thanks to Paula D. Ashe. And so, yeah, I name names because I want people to know who is responsible for the defamation of my character. Okay, it should be, I should fucking sue them, but I don't have the means, so I'm just putting it out there, man. I was the person who commissioned this story, and which was included in a book without crediting me, called "We Are Here to Hurt Each Other," which won the Shirley Jackson Award in 2023. And I was subsequently accused of transphobia. I'm sorry I'm bringing this up, but truth hurts. And so then that died on the vine mostly because of the accusations of transphobia, you know. And so then when I saw that Ossiana had, I guess, this authenticated transgender person, is created the Rainbow Travel Guide. And I thought, oh, this is a perfect solution, right? We could put out well, actually, you suggested that we put out a new edition, right, of the Rainbow Travel Guide. And I said, yeah, we'll call it the Riot Pink, Riot Pink, because for me, the Black transgender women were, when people think of Black Lives Matter, maybe people, don't realize that it was Black transgender women who were some of the main people behind Black Lives Matter, and I was an early adopter of Black Lives Matter. Long story. So I'm really excited about Rainbow Travel Guide. It's a project that's very close to my heart, and I'm something that I was exactly. I mean, a resource guide, that's exactly what I wanted Embracing Justice to be all about. So really excited about that book. And then there's another book that we'll but we'll get back to Oceanus, because I want to talk to Ken about specifically Ken. Like, I was really intrigued when you sent me the contextual material for the cut-ups that you did for the Burroughs book, the Burroughs Tribute Anthology, and you were talking about how um, the I don't remember if it was in the contextual material or I found it online, but at any rate, so you and William S. Burroughs, Timothy Leary, Trent Reznor, I think Bruce Sterling, William Gibson, and John Shirley, among others, were involved with a game, a game that was adapted from
Neuromancer.
Neuromancer. Could you
Yeah,
talk about that?
sure. Yeah. There was a company called Cabana Boy that was supposed to do Neuromancer as a film back at the end of the 1980s, way back. Um, and Timothy Leary was hired to design a game, a computer game, uh, as an accompaniment to the projected film. And he involved various people in that project, including Burroughs, Devo. Uh, God, I'm forgetting right now, but a bunch of very cool people were engaged in that. And in the first issue of Mondo 2000, the cyberpunk issue, uh, we had a conversation between Timothy Leary and William Burroughs that revolved around the development of the game. It's a funny story because uh, it wasn't supposed to be an interview. Uh, Leary and Gibson had a business meeting or a ideas meeting at Leary's house in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
And we were putting together our cyberpunk issue of Mondo. And we were able to get interviews with Shirley and Sterling and Rudy Rucker, but we couldn't get a hold of William Gibson. And we were, as they say, complete unknowns at that time. Um, and Gibson was coming to San Francisco, coming to the Bay Area, Berkeley, where we worked and lived. and we couldn't get through to him through our agent. He was only scheduled to be interviewed by the major outlets. So our publisher, Allison Kennedy, aka Queen Moo, got on the phone with Leary complaining about the situation, and Leary offered to give her a recording of he and Gibson in conversation to transcribe and use. So this is without Gibson's permission. So when Gibson came to Berkeley, did a reading at a science fiction bookstore, a signing actually. It wasn't a reading; it was a signing. And we went there and kind of hung out in the back, somehow looking like maybe we're a gang of terrorists because he kept on looking over at us and looking a little concerned. And so she came up to him at the end, and she has a really kind of scary rictus smile that she has. And she said, we're running the interview that Timothy Leary did with you. And he said, that was no interview. That was a business meeting. That was a drunken business meeting. But he forgave us. He eventually came on board and wrote for us, and all was good.
That reminds me. One of the contributors to the Black Sabbath book is a guy named Paul Salmon. Do you know Paul?
I don't.
Okay, so he was, among other things, he was embedded with Blade Runner, and he was a friend of Philip K. Dick, and he wrote the book Future Noir: The Making of Blade Runner.
Oh, yeah.
And he also edited Splatterpunk's extreme horror as well as Splatterpunk's 2,
Oh yeah, those
Top,
were good.
which contained a story called Head Turner by our mutual friend Thomas Roche and Kevin Andrew Murphy. And so we'll be talking. Well, I'm actually our first contact. And so anyway, Paul was telling me, he's a good friend. We've been known each other since the 90s. And he was telling me on the phone the other day that he scored weed for Gibson. So it was a pretty funny story.
I gave him vasopressin at a thing organized by the Whole Earth. What did they call it? Cyberthon. Like
Cyberthon.
1989, 1990, everybody was getting all excited about virtual reality for whatever reason. And Gibson was there, and he wanted to try a smart drug. And I had some vasopressin, and he snorted it. I told him it was a little bit like cocaine. He was pretty excited about it. He liked it at the time, but then later said nothing happened. So it's funny how memory works. It's supposed to improve your memory.
It's supposed to improve your memory. In fact, the levels of vasopressin in your brain determine whether or not you have some people with high levels of vasopressin are eidetic or have complete recall.
It's related to LSD. Albert Hoffman came up with it and recommended it for intelligence as an intelligence drug.
So is it a psychedelic and a smart nootropic?
No, it's just a nootropic. It really doesn't have psychedelic effects. Vasopressin, yeah. It comes in a liquid form. You squirt it up your nose.
Oh,
yeah. Tim Leary did it before giving a talk. He thought it was reasonably effective. He said, do you have any Coke? No.
Oh my God.
I have this.
Oh my gosh.
After last weekend, I might need to load up on that then. Like my brain still feels like it's just powered by a Mexican jumping bean.
Oh,
Yeah.
well.
Might be hard to get a hold of. I haven't had it in a while, but I think you can order it. You can find a way to order it online.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
I think everybody who's, at all a freak, we're all freaks here. Well, I can't speak to Neil Till. I'm sorry, I don't mean to, conscript you into freakdom, but you're here already.
We're all mad
So
here.
I think our one question that naturally occurs is, what's it like to drop acid with Timothy Leary?
Hmm. I mean, I only did I drop acid with Timothy Leary? I don't think I did actually. I had ecstasy with
Oh, okay.
with Leary just before going to a housewarming party on Cielo Drive for Trent Reznor. And of course, the Cielo Drive house is the house that Sharon Tate was murdered in by the Manson family. So, I mean, that could have, what was strange about it was that it wasn't strange.
Hmm.
You just maybe ecstasy, blocks out bad vibes and ghosts and etc. But I mean, it was actually entirely comfortable. I mean, I smoked DMT with Tim a bunch of times and did ketamine with him. But I mean, in all those cases, you're just kind of in your head.
Oh, yeah.
It's not so much a social thing. I
Not a
mean,
social thing like weed.
yeah, I mean, the cool thing about Tim is, smoke some DMT, he just closes his eyes and goes away for a few minutes. Very good at losing his ego and then getting it right back again.
It's just like so amazing, all the people that were in and around Mondo and Reality Hackers and your other project. So like what role did Trent Reznor play in all of this?
Well, Reznor was interviewed by, I'm forgetting his name right now, but yeah, we had him in the magazine. And I went to Los Angeles with the people from Mondo Vanilli to see if we could hook up with the record industry, which was actually a thing back then in the early 90s, 1993. And there was a woman, Casey Cannon, who knew everybody basically. She used to do all the shorts for all the films that came out. And she was married to the guy who was the right hand man for tech for James Cameron. And so she told us, "Oh, you've got to go to the housewarming party for Trent Reznor. It's happening right up the street from Leary's house." So we called and got the invite and went up there. And a good time was had. And we left behind a audio tape of a demo tape of some songs that we had made. And lucky for us, he was chewing down a bunch of magic mushrooms that night.
Nice.
And he listened to it and he loved it. There was also a little propaganda sheet that was very irreverent towards the music industry and had a picture of our member Simone, third arm, pointing a gun and said, "You may just have one." So, it's basically saying you should be so very excited about getting a pitch from Mondo Vanilli. So he decided that he had just been given a boutique record label by Interscope for signing with them, Interscope Records, called Nothing Records. And he had been told that he could sign 6 bands or 6 individuals to his record company. And so he decided we would be one of the bands that he would sign. He came to San Francisco, where we were living at the time, and met with us, brought his dog with him. His dog went everywhere. Um, so it was a very friendly thing about how great his record company was and how it wasn't going to be like normal record companies. But then I guess they were really controlled by Interscope, which in
Yeah.
turn was controlled, I think, by Warner Brothers. So we got a very boilerplate, shitty record company, record contract, which as a matter of coincidence, we knew a very high-powered music lawyer who looked at it and said, "This is a shitty contract," and started negotiating. And in the meantime, they still gave us the money to go ahead and start recording. So with $90,000, we recorded an album that we ended up calling IOU Babe, the letters IOU Babe. And gave it to Reznor. He was friendly, he was excited, and then suddenly he had to let go of all his bands other than one.
Oh wow.
And that was Marilyn Manson. That was the one he kept, which was a wise decision financially. Can't speak to the karma at this point,
Right.
but definitely a wise decision. And it was Antichrist Superstar. I mean, it is a good fucking album.
It's a great album.
But anyway, we got canned along with everybody else,
Oh
and
wow.
in order to get to the rights to the album to sell it to anybody else, they wanted us to return the entire $90,000,
Holy shit.
which we didn't have. So eventually, that record company dissipated, and towards the beginning of this millennium, we put IOU Babe online.
Nice.
And it's there on my Bandcamp, areyouSerious.bandcamp. So yeah, that's the Reznor story. I'm sorry, I have to say that I have to leave at about 2:15 because I have somewhere I have to go to.
Okay.
But I can answer any other questions over the
Yeah.
next 8 minutes or so.
Okay. Yeah. Could you
And I enjoyed listening to everybody else, by the way. Yeah.
So could you tell us about, you know, working with Burroughs? What was that like?
Well, I mean, he was very cooperative with Mondo 2000. He was very enthusiastic, really, about High Frontiers, our first magazine. And Queen Moo, Allison Kennedy, was very enthusiastic about the idea that AIDS was a bio engineered conspiracy. So it was really she who collaborated closely with William and with James Grauhaus to get that done. And then we also did a photographic essay based around Burroughs' Thanksgiving prayer, which also involved Gus Van Sant. I mean, all I can say about Burroughs is in all cases he was kind and just a absolutely warm person. I mean, when people think about counterculture people and what they might have been like, uh, my experience is the opposite of what you might expect because Burroughs and Leary were just really kind, easygoing people, and Allen Ginsberg and Ken Kesey were cold as fuck.
Really?
So, I mean, that was my experience. Wavy Gravy was sweet, but
Wow.
I mean, it's kind of a peculiar aspect of things.
Could you tell the story?
Even when Kathy Acker tried to introduce me to Ginsberg,
Right.
he wasn't having it. He didn't want to know what Mondo was.
Oh wow. Could you tell the story about how you first met Burroughs and apparently he had the thirst for a kin?
Yeah. I went to a signing. This was really before I'd started doing anything. I had just moved from upstate New York to Berkeley, and I saw that Burroughs was signing at a bookstore there, Cody's Books, famous bookstore, now
Sure.
gone. Um, so I got online at the back of the line. I couldn't. It was Cities of the Red Knight. I think it was 1982. It was a hardcover. I really couldn't afford to buy a hardcover book, and I had already sold off everything to move. But I do keep a copy of Wild Boys because I just love that book so much. It seemed to reflect on my yippee zippy experience in some ways. Um, so I brought that with me to have it signed. I was at the back of the line. And he was signing in a very perfunctory manner with everybody else. I walked up to him and he kind of brightened up right away, and he said, "You really must come to the reading tonight. There's going to be somebody there with a mind machine that I think you'll be really interested in." And, I wasn't wearing anything that would indicate that I was a future forward, eventual cyberpunk person, but that's who I was. I was interested in brain machines and hacking consciousness. And he just honed right in on it. And, I was kind of gasping, amazed by this psychic skill that Burroughs had. And I mean, not only couldn't I afford to buy his hardcover, there was a cover charge for what he was doing in San Francisco that night, and I wasn't going to go to that either. So I didn't go. And then later on, when I was thinking about it, I was a pretty cute, baby-faced, young bisexual at the time. And I think I realized later on that aside from honing in on me in terms of being a techno person, he was also flirting with me. So
Nice.
I missed my opportunity to show my respect for William Burroughs by giving him a blowjob or whatever.
Bro.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so fucking
So
amazing.
that's a good night. That's a good note for me to
Yeah.
head out on.
Okay, cool. Could we all, and Till as well, give
Oh, yeah, I'll
give
do the
a
salute.
nice warm squeeze and for our friend
All right, squeezing's
friend
cool.
Hoffman. Are you serious?
All right.
Okay, we love you, man.
All right. Love you too, man.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
So amazing, right? I just want to like savor this moment because like I mean, I can't speak to Till and Till's next, but all of us we're misfits. We're fucking misfits, Alea and Ossiana and I were just like weirdos, and people have hated us for being different, being neurodivergent and being like brilliant but socially inept, and or, and it's just that we've found the OG weirdos. Like nobody else will put up with our shit. But and of course in retrospect
Right.
it makes complete
True.
sense, right? That we should be hooking up with the OGs. And I'm 100% positive that if Hunter Thompson and William Burroughs were still alive, they would be on the show. They'd be on the Small Bear Show, without a doubt, So now, Till has been very patient. Till, could you tell us about your work and you work with human rights and peace, and you also were part of this Guinness Book thing. Could you talk about that? The world's biggest poetry collaboration.
Okay. Am I
Yeah.
Alex?
Yes.
Okay, I'm very much happy to visit you all here. And I first of all give thanks to Alex who invited me here, and it is my first visit here. And about the Guinness book, uh, in 2023, I was included in Guinness World Record book Hyperpoem, and now I have collected many poets, and the founder has made me co-organizer of the book, and uh, and then I am collecting many writers there, and I am also interested to collect from here too in that project. And now in this program, I have composed many poems in 1,000 or 2,000, 3,000 anthologies also. There are many projects, others are there. Then now I am here in your program. I'm twice here in two
Yeah.
books. Okay. Now I'm going to give thanks to you because your poetry leads the world with ethical person. Yeah, because you are taking good points in every poems, taking the uh, unconscious mind is the eternal form, like the your friends and others. Sometimes they are going to take wrong way, but for that wrong way, we should not take them negatively because they are in the art is they are eternal in the form of art. So it is by you, and that gives inspiration for every people to come in the positive or ethical waves. So now I am going to recite a poem about control the addiction in the world. From that, the book Burroughs, your friend, who is going to die because of the drug or addiction, but we should not take him negative because we should love him to bring in the eternal way. So con- I have also composed the poems about the control the addiction in the world by the inspiration of you and that your friend William Burroughs. The poem, the addiction is very bad in the world. The people are very busy to be engaged in addiction. The drug users may lose their mind in rational thinking. We see youth to be engaged in drug like cigarettes, wine, heroin. Such drug use harms our universe. The mind kidnapping will be there. Addiction of the drug may lose ethical society. It may lose humanity and rationality. This new generation seems to engage in irrationality of drug. The consciousness of mind is lost. The youth is walking in wrong way with a misuse of drug addiction. So we should make good youth to change this world. We should create the intellectual generation to make world better. There is a need to control drug addiction for children, women, youth, aged people, and so on. Then the world will be utopian. Okay, because of your project, we have given the lesson for the new generation to come in the positive way with a conscious mind to cut off the the bad drugs, or like heroin, etc. So, okay.
Okay, thank you so much. And I just want to I think it's beautiful that you call Burroughs my friend because he died in 1987. And so and his entire project was to get people to, you know, um not take drugs like heroin specifically. He wrote Naked Lunch um to warn people about the dangers
Yeah,
of of drugs, um,
yeah,
heroin, specifically.
yeah. Yeah, he is inspiration to for us to bring the newness about the knowledge or ethicality for the new generation because is subject or this book teaches the new youth or generation of the new time to come in the positive way or with the ethics of the morality, humanity, rationality. Yeah?
Yes, that's very, very beautifully and very well put, Till. And so I'm actually going to read now from the beginning of this is the transcript of 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 from the Supreme Court case um, of against against the against Naked Lunch. It was put on trial for obscenity, and
Yeah.
this was in uh, 19, 1965, and so there was an it was considered to be many people throughout history who are actually um, trying to warn us of dangers to our very very life, existential threats to our existence, including Socrates, Jesus Christ, Buddha. um well, Buddha did okay. He wasn't horribly tortured and murdered, but you know
Yeah.
Oscar Wilde, it's often the case that the people who who try to bring the good news, so to speak. I mean, who try to warn us about threats to our freedom and liberty and very life, are badly misunderstood. Unfortunately, because of the nature of addiction, a number of people, including Lou Reed, um, were absolutely fascinated by Burroughs and his and drugs and heroin specifically. And I was for it didn't last long, but I was friends with a woman named Betty Kronstadt. I'll actually, yeah, I won't get the book, but Betty
Yeah.
Kronstadt is the widow of Lou Reed. He had three widows of the Velvet Underground, of course, and we became friends. And she liked my I'd actually written a poem that was inspired by Lewis, I guess Lewis Lewis Reed, and she thought it was great, you know, and so I was like, I mean, of all the people that all the nice things that people have said about my work over the years, that is, you know, the widow of Lou Reed. I mean, like, it's it blew my mind. Okay, so I wrote this this poem called New New Jersey Telephone Conversation, and it was actually inspired by. I see. I had a friend. Well, we're not friends now, but I had a friend in New Jersey. I have a new friend in New Jersey now, but my old friend in New Jersey is no longer a friend. His name is Chris Ropes, and he and I were both published by Jordan Krall of Dynatox Mysteries, Dionysian Mystery Cult, right? The Dynatox Mystery Cult, and it was like Dynatox published these micro chapbook editions of like 25, only 25 copies in existence, of people like Nicole um, Vasari, who was in, is in um, the uh, the the Bauhaus tribute. Garrett Cook, who was the Wonderland award-winning author, and we basically I was in sort of the ground floor of Bizarro, and so he was part of Garrett Cook was part of the. It's kind of an asshole, but anyway, it's another story for another time. And he was in, we were in the ground floor of Bizarro, and he was, he wrote a story for Bertie Walker and I, who created Fucked Up Fairy Tales. Long story. So somebody reroute me because I just derailed myself.
Oh, you're okay.
Okay, so where was I? Because I really need to keep the thread sewn tight, fairly tight.
Ooh, me?
Yeah, somebody. Oh yeah, New Jersey, right? So you're from Jersey. Okay, so Christopher Ropes would call me up routinely, and usually at like 10 o'clock at night, and so anyway, yeah. So Jordan Kroll was our point of contact because Jordan Kroll had this thing he still has, called Dynatox Ministries, and actually they published the first iteration in chapbook form of Dr. Flesh. Not Dr. Flesh. Well, yeah, Dr. Flesh. This book, as well as The Doom Hippies. So just a little bit of self publicity here. And okay, so Dr. Flesh, I'm so fucking proud of this book. It's a dark satire, and it's a dark cyberpunk sort of bizarro thriller with a transgender protagonist and a guy named who went by the 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 moniker Necro Stein of Texas Terror Entertainment wrote about this book. It's one of my favorite all-time blurbs. and I arranged the photo shoot. So this is I find it highly tasty. I don't know about you, but
Yes.
so this was my concept. And okay, after reading Dr. Flesh, I felt I needed to check myself into a rehab clinic. The extreme sexuality and completely abhorrent visions slammed down your pie hole. I mean, a pie hole is your mouth, so I don't know what's going on there. He's is he kind of giving me a beeger, like like is that what's going on? I mean, slammed down your pie hole. I mean, I didn't. Let's see what he wrote. Anyway, um, slam down your pie hole will make. Well, it reminds me of a review in Cemetery Dance of Poppy's first book, Lost Souls, where the guy T. Liam something or other said, enough clove cigarettes to choke Peter Murphy, and why does Poppy Z. Bride insist on shoving homosexuals down our throat? And I was like, whoa, Anyway, what was that?
Oh, you said clove cigarettes, and then I just realized I have them sitting right here, so I was just like,
wolfskin clove cigarette.
Is that a clove
An
vape?
erotic funeral for which she is dressed. Anyway, Pete
So
Steele.
it's not a clove vape that I have, but it's peach and it tastes like cloves to me. So I'm not sure whether that means that my taste buds are bent or.
That sounds kind of good.
It will make you feel like you've just eaten 8 Percocets and washed them down with a bottle of moonshine. His Kafkaesque musings are very reminiscent of Kafka raping Pyramid Head and slamming its face into the ground while doing so. A must read if you want to feel like you're tripping balls. His style is without a doubt in a league of its own. Not many can make you feel like you're not sure whether you're utterly aroused or going to vomit. I live for this kind of shit. And just one more
Does.
um uh while we're on this subject, where did where did that go? Pickles, oh yeah, Wicked Candy. This is enough advertisements for myself. I just derailed to talk about Burroughs, but because neurospicy, I guess. So this is
But you have the hat, so
I've
it's
got
all
the
good.
it's all good, right? This is Wicked Candy. This came out from Morbid Books, which also put out Garrett Cook. And there's an ad for Murderland in here, which was basically a predecessor of The Purge, or he ripped off The Purge. I suspect he ripped off The Purge. Anyway, Garrett Cook's Murderland, he pulled out, oh, well, just say that, because I don't give a fuck, that Garrett Cook pulled out of the Burroughs book because he was threatened to have his contract revoked by Clash Books because I'm drama. They threatened him, his livelihood, and he pulled out. But, fuck him. Anyway, so Lucy Taylor, who won the Bram Stoker Award for a book called The Safety of Unknown Cities, and it's also represented in Axis of Evil, a heavy metal horror anthology, wrote of this book, Wicked Candy. It's out from Morbid Books, and you can get it on Amazon. Bizarro horror, laced with black humor. Wicked Candy is shocking, perverse, and at times funny as hell. And that's Lucy Taylor, who wrote, some of the most extreme horror and erotic horror that you will ever read in your fucking life. So let's see. Going back to, I think, Alea. So Alea, I want to hear more about, and I don't know what happened to Destiny. Does anybody know what happened to?
Oh, I think she said she had to go help her son with a school assignment.
Oh, okay. So yeah, Destiny's son is autistic. So we have a number of autistic, um, contributors and friends. Carrie Lee Chrome is told me that she was autistic, but she's not really part of us anymore. Um, so Alea is, among other things, a ufologist.
Oh yeah.
And I am just fascinated by this because Alea can kind of summon the extraterrestrials with her mind.
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes,
It's been a little while since I've done it. I actually I decided to stop for a little while, but I've been kind of thinking about getting back into it a little bit.
Yeah.
But like, I, I had to take a break for a little bit because I had one kind of scary little thing that happened. That I was like, okay, I'm just gonna not do that for a little bit. But yeah, sorry. You can continue though. You have a good way of describing the stuff that I can't describe about myself.
There is. I wanted to just one of the many fascinating connections that Ali and I have made when talking about this stuff and exploring the premise that we are all part of this sort of cosmic conspiracy. One aspect, which is just okay, I'm going to connect the dots between Bela Lugosi's Dead, Bauhaus, Burroughs, The Hunger, Wolfen, Communion, and Blade Runner. Okay. So here we go. Bela Lugosi's Dead was a song that came out in 1979 on I believe it was Small Wonder. Um, it was a very, very small SMOL record label called, I believe, Small Wonder Records in England. And then that was a huge hit, and it inaugurated basically goth. And then in what was it, 1983, I believe, a movie called The Hunger came out. And The Hunger was directed by Tony Scott, who also directed Top Gun, right? And which seems a little bit counterintuitive because I can't think of two things more, more distinct than, you know, that whatever he's such a weirdo, Tom Cruise and that very, very gung-ho pro-military ethic of Top Gun, and then which was funded by the military, by the Pentagon, and The Hunger, right? You would think that they would have nothing in common, but then I'm reminded that, you know, Tom Cruise was in the movie First Vanilla Sky, right? And also in Minority Report, which is also based on a Philip K. Dick short story called I can was it Minority Report, right? And so Tony Scott directed, who's no longer with us. I think I said that he jumped off a bridge. Um, he directed The Hunger, which starred David Bowie, Catherine Deneuve, Susan Sarandon, with a guest appearance by very, very memorable that actress Anne Magnuson, right? And and then of course, famously, the the song that's playing in the opening credits, intercut with David Bowie basically seducing and murdering and sacrificing the very yummy and Magnuson. Oh my God, be still my heart, right? Oh, and you're thinking, just what would be the downside of being, if even okay, so David Bowie is a vampire who drinks your blood and murders you with a song. And you're thinking the downside of this is
There's a downside.
there's a downside. I mean, I'm just like, usually most of the time, I think in normative culture, the idea of murder, is and blood sacrifice is not considered, well, it's a bit of a taboo, but
I
but
mean, if it's David Bowie, I'm sorry, but that's a nice way to go. I mean, it's
oh,
David Bowie. Come on now.
Right.
oh, plus you're Anne Magnuson. You're Anne Magnuson, goddess, right? So she gets to be Anne Magnuson in this incarnation. Jesus, man. We were in touch briefly online, and I'm trying to get her into the David Bowie book. We're going to talk about that too. So, which also contains some David J. Haskins, right? Then, so we got The Hunger. The book The Hunger was written by Whitley Strieber, who was a friend of William S. Burroughs. Now, the connection with Burroughs is that Burroughs was who described himself as somebody from another planet, right? Came up with the whole, he also came up with the phrase Blade Runner, and he said, and as well as language is a virus from outer space. What didn't Burroughs coin? He coined the term heavy metal, among other things. So he was a friend of Whitley Strieber, and he actually visited Strieber's house in upstate New York, where he wanted to see if he could communicate with the same aliens. I hate that term, by the way. I mean, they're just
Oh
friends from
yeah.
another sphere,
Yeah, there's other you can there's
They're
alternatives.
they're little friends, you know, and I would give them a squeeze and if I
They're
could,
people too.
right? They're people too, right? And so, and he didn't, that never happened. But Burroughs was yeah, so then of course Strieber said that 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 all of his characters and his scenarios in his novels were basically real, like that they're just metaphors for the aliens. And he just came out with an updated version of Communion. So then um, my former friend Carrie Lee Crum, founder of the Runaways, said, "Oh, David Bowie is a vampire." So there's this connection too between vampires and aliens. And there's also this connection between vampires, aliens, David Bowie, and like this the MK Ultra shit too. Like
Mm-hmm.
because because of the experiments, like the head cage shit, and they're trying to turn people into robo killers. I mean, can we talk about that? Because, you know,
Yeah,
can we talk about that? Okay. And this
like
was funded by the US government and it's still going on.
yeah. I mean, as a lot of people know, like aliens have been making themselves very known.
Right.
They've been I honestly believe that there has been a project that the US has been working with in conjunction with several different alien races, including one that can shapeshift.
Sure.
And when I say this out loud in public, people are like, okay, she's crazy. But I genuinely do mean this when I say I don't think that most people would recognize somebody who is actually an alien or somebody who is genetically modified with alien DNA
I
if
like
it
what
bit
we're
them on the
saying here.
face.
Yeah, I mean, like technically, like you could be an alien because your eyes change shape, right?
Yeah.
So I've
You've
seen
seen,
it. I've seen it.
yeah,
And it's
most people's pupils, they stay round. Mine don't.
you get the cat's eye thing.
Do
I've
you?
seen it, and I was like, okay,
Oh.
so you're even more awesome than I thought. Yeah, because the things that repel the norm, and by the way, I just need to give we haven't mentioned only once, but I want to give a warm shout out and a squeezy hug to our friend Caitlin or Kiernan. Can we like just like give a squeezins, right? Right? And so, because I'm going to be sending them this show. Okay, reasons, right? Okay, so anyway, um, I know that that they and Billy Martin have been had a lot of a lot of really hard time recently, but also new publications too, which is fucking rules, right? So I'm so proud of them and proud of all of us. And so yeah, man. I mean, the shape shifting, the reptilians. I mean, Alea, one of the first things that that she shared with me was about like the mantids and rep,
Mhm.
the reptile people. And I wasn't like going to kick that out of bed. I mean, I can work with that, as long as people are nice to me and and don't try to murder me or whatever.
Right.
It's all I
Yeah.
have a very these days I have a very low bar. As long as you're not out actively trying to, kill me.
Don't look at me, man. All I do is just have funky eyes, drink heavily, and occasionally just like, use things I shouldn't.
And you flatlined a couple of times, you know, fairly
Yeah, this
recently.
past
So
weekend.
yeah. Also, there's this really weird thing when we do video chats or Zooms. There's something that happens with the lights. which almost looks like it's eerie. Do you know what to attribute that to?
Does it happen after, during, or before? Because if it's my screen only, it's probably my cat's like standing in front of the light or opening and closing the door.
It's a great little effect. Yeah, it's sort of like this little flash of light and then it'll go away and then a flash of light, like you're underlit. So
That's not supposed to happen.
yes.
Wait. Let me try to debunk this because I want to figure out what that is.
Okay.
Okay. Is it happening now?
No.
Okay, then it's not my cell phone.
Okay. Yeah, there's this flash of light that comes up and sort of like a flash like that, and then bathes your face in sort of this weird glow, and then when your eyes are changing shape, I'm like, okay, man, there's a rational scientific,
Wait a minute, let me try. Do you see the underlight now?
No.
Okay, so it's not my Google Docs, and I'm
yeah,
trying to like take.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
so
Yeah,
that's it.
okay, yeah,
Yeah, that's me switching between
Oh,
windows.
okay. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, you have enough freaky phenomena around you that I don't need to have, lighting effects as well. So
Trying to.
the very patient Til Kumari Sharma, I want to bring back in. Til, could you read your Bauhaus poem, please?
Okay, I already read this poem before. Again, may I read here
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, please do.
in Nepali?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, in Nepali. Okay. संसारमा लत नियन्त्रण लत यो संसारमा धेरै नराम्रो हो लतमा मान्छेहरू धेरै व्यस्त छन् लागु पदार्थ लिनेहरूले दिमागको तार्किक शक्ति नै हराउन सक्छन् हामीले युवाहरूलाई लागु पदार्थ चुरोट ड्रग्स र हेरोइनमा संलग्न भएको देख्छौँ यस्ता लागु पदार्थले ब्रह्माण्ड नै खराब बनाउँछ त्यहाँ दिमागको अपहरण हुनेछ लागु पदार्थको लतले नैतिकता गुमाउन सक्छ यसले मानवता र तार्किकता गुमाउन सक्छ यो नयाँ पुस्ता लागु पदार्थको तर्कहीनतामा संलग्न देखिन्छ दिमागको चेतनशीलता गुमाएको छ युवा लागु पदार्थको लतले गलत बाटोमा हिँड्दैछन् त्यसैले हामी संसार बदल्न युवालाई सही बनाउनु पर्छ हामीले संसार राम्रो बनाउन बौद्धिक पुस्ता निर्माण गर्नुपर्छ लागु पदार्थको नियन्त्रण केटाकेटी महिला युवा र बुढाबुढी सबैलाई आवश्यक छ त्यसपछि संसार काल्पनिक बन्नेछ ओके it is translation in Nepali of that former poem English poem so it is a translation in my mother tongue yeah
It's very hypnotic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's great. So and I would like so what do you have open? I mean, you've got the Hyperpoem, right? Till and so what are some other projects and anthologies, etc., that you're working on that maybe we could all contribute to?
Okay, I have done not much projects myself. I have mixed with my few friends from America and India, and in Hyperpoem, I am co-organizer because I have collected many friends to make this book great.
You're cutting out a little bit too.
Till?
Writers. It is in the list of the Guinness World Record because of many writers. It is a unique because of the title International. So I am incoming friends. Actually, I have not individual. Okay, Alex.
Okay. So could you tell us more about I'm just going to go back to your biography in the Bauhaus book. Let me see.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Yeah, I am Til Kumari Sharma. I am Til Kumari Sharma from West Nepal. Actually, I am doing PhD from Singhania University. Internationally, I have recognized as the poet, essayist, and story writing
mhm.
writer. Story writer also. Yeah, 1,000 hours maybe they are from group and other projects, and I'm engaged in writing, and I can heal my mind with writing only because I don't like material world. I want to see the spiritual world in the high position because that has making the good leading of the humanity. Now in a Loni program, I got a creative World Creative Hero Award.
Oh, wow.
That
Congratulations.
yeah, yeah, that is about leaders of all nations and international leaders. How to change the world. Yeah, the topic
Amazing.
is how to change the world. That means we have to change the world with ethical way, morality, humanity, rationality, make us human being. Otherwise, we are unconscious and we cannot do anything rationally. We cannot communicate rationally. So that program, Loni program, has made all the leaders of the world to have the change with consciousness and ethicality. So that award I got from Loni program, and in this way, Tamika Dolly also has made me journalist from her journal from America.
Great.
Because I want to see that poetry is a kind of reporting, because journalism also is going to take the every fact or truth. In this way, poetry is going to report fact, truth with the creativity and imaginative power. So I want to say that the changing world with rationality is very nice, and you also are going to change the world with the ethicality, because you are taking the issue of the drug, wine, and other unethical things, and to have create the ethical world. Yeah. So
Yes.
that your books also make the new generation to aware of the bad things, and we have to go with the good things. So I thank you, Alex, to bring such things in the light by mentioning about the gone events. Yeah, gone events to come in the ethical wave. So I like your project to be included here, and I thank you to invite me here also.
Thank you so much. And I need to mention, because my background is my parents raised me in the Vedanta tradition, which is
Yeah,
which is very kind of ecumenical and Catholic, and embraces all traditions, all faiths, in the idea that we're all really consciousness, that
yeah,
and emphasizing loving kindness, morality, rationality, and just and
yeah,
kind of a soulful quality of being, that we slow down. We really
yeah,
need to slow down and recognize the humanity of
yeah,
people that have been cruelly abused. I mean, I think particularly one of the main reasons that I started Nocturnicorn Books is because I believe that in representing all voices, one of the things that I don't think that people understand, who are, I think, the whole phrase "white on white,"
yeah,
is basically it makes people automatically, in a kind of a knee-jerk thing way. I think
yeah,
their first response is, "Oh, we're talking about white people," and that
yeah,
and that Bauhaus is a band that's pallid people like myself and Ossiana who have, northern European roots. And nothing could be further from the truth. Nothing could be further from the truth because um, David David J. Haskins, who's the
Yeah, really. Okay, really, this world, okay, really, this world has not all the intellectuals who know about the artist and artist effort to make the world. So they abuse the good people only. Many are engaged in bad things and they see with a bad eye to the artist that they do not know what is inside the artist. Yeah. So they
yeah,
abuse. So they are such kind of the people. So we have to raise the voice against them also that they do not know who is right and wrong. So we
right.
have to enter much, yeah, we have to enter much in the world, and not only there. Here also is same condition for the artist. People, people love and respect only money, not the intellectuality
Oh, for sure.
today. So yeah, they scold the people, they abuse the people. We have a rag dress, we have aging condition, and they do not know what is inside the knowledge and wisdom of the people or rationality of the people. Even here also the same people are here because our world is not intellectual enough with many people. Because of that it happens. If all are intellectual and scholarly born, then they never abuse the good people. Yeah.
Oh yeah, 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 for sure. For sure.
Mm-hmm.
I totally agree
Yeah.
with you on that one.
Yeah.
What I was kind of getting at with with Bauhaus as an example is that, I think that what one of the things that distinguishes Nocturnicorn from a lot of other we don't have any competition basically is
Yeah.
because it's based on friendship. It's not based on money. It's not, a lot of
Yeah.
a lot of people who do similar work as I do, they'll have
Yeah.
anthologies. Well, they'll have mostly, the mostly reprints, and they'll have, but they'll pay a lot of money, which they use crowdfunding for.
Crowdfunding, yeah.
Yeah.
Just for an example, I mean, Splatterpunks, 1 and 2, which are great books. Don't get me wrong, but they're 99.9% reprints. Most of the
Yeah.
anthologies with the big names, the Stephen Kings, the Ellen Datlow, that's all
Yeah.
It's all
reprint.
resale.
My books are
Yeah.
99% original stories, with the exception of a John Shirley giving me a deep cut, Caitlin R. Kiernan giving me a deep cut. Just having a single Caitlin R. Kiernan story would be enough to make most anthologies, right? And we have original John Shirley, and I cannot
Yeah.
and original John Palisano, and original Anna Taborska, and I cannot emphasize enough how profound that is. These people are legends. They're true icons of and we have the rock and roll icons, and we have the Jarbos, and we have the Lucifer Fulcis, and we have Ethan Morollis. These are my actual friends, and
So cool.
I didn't like pay. I couldn't afford Carrie Chrome. I couldn't afford Jarbo, and I couldn't afford Poppy. Who's probably makes I don't know how many thousands of dollars for a single short story, probably, probably $10,000 at least, right? If not 20,000, I don't know, but I would imagine, right? He writes for Simon and Schuster, so I can only imagine like the royalties. But which people don't realize that he's struggling financially. Like just because you're a fucking rock star of literature doesn't mean that you don't have issues. Billy is disabled. I mean, Billy has some deals with mental health issues, as we all do. It's because if you're dead, I suppose you can escape having mental health issues. But
Yeah.
um, we're not dead. We're maybe undead. And so so it's all personal relationships. I mean, I started out like in 19 in the early 90s. I was just, I moved to LA from Sacramento, and then I I got into contact with Craig Spector because he was I'll show you this thing.
Bro, I love Alex's show and tells because he always brings like some sort of crazy like rock underground literary memorabilia.
This is
Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah.
So you all have heard of like people like David J. Scow, right? Um, who created splatterpunk. Um, so okay, so this is a really fun story. This is a really fun story, and I think you'll like it. So lived in South Pasadena, um, in that's Southern California. It's near the right near the Arroyo Seco, and then I used to live on Mount Washington, which is like northeast, and then you have the 110, and then which is where Michael Douglas gets off in the movie Falling Down. That was gang territory. I mean, it was ruled by the Los Avenidas, right? So I took my life in my hands every day. I don't drive, so I would walk up Mount Washington. I woke up after I got off my job at Kaiser Permanente, but I was desperately trying to get my career started as a rock and roll journalist and writing horror fiction. And so I'd be on the phone with, like, you know, J.K. Potter, Jeff Potter. Um, this is an example of Jeff Potter's work. It's beautiful, right? This is a photo technique that he invented, which is not digital. This is pre-digital. He created this in the darkroom, where he would partially expose, parts of prints, and to create these sort of fantastic montages of chimeras, these creatures. And he, among other things, he did, if you've ever heard you know, the album, um, was it not Cabal, but I think what's the monster town in Midian, right? Midian by Cradle of Filth, right? Um, Jeff Jeff did the cover to Midian, which is one of the best Cradle of Filth, sort of middle era Cradle of Filth. And so I'd be on the phone to people like him, to um, uh, Gauntlet Press, Barry Barry Hoffman, this guy, Barry Hoffman, and Gauntlet Press, and this is like really rare, extremely rare. This is like 350 copies, signed copies, of this chapbook. This must be worth hundreds of dollars. Um, and so Barry commissioned me to interview Clive Barker. That didn't work out because their his publicist at the time, was kind of an asshole. And so I still have never interviewed Clive Barker. Manifest Universe. Anyway, um, so anyway, I was not in a good marriage. I was not in a happy marriage. I married just to get out of my motives were not the best, right? I wanted to get out of Sacramento, which I'm back in Sacramento. And so I was kind of in an escapist mode. I really, really wanted to write horror, and I really wanted to be a rock and roll guy, rock and roll journalist. And so I didn't know anybody in Sacramento. I mean, except Thomas Roche. Thomas Roche is is a guy who's basically played a huge role in my career as we were like little pals together. We were kind of, those pals where you sort of dream things together, and then you're young and you don't know shit, but
Yep.
you have this dream, like we would listen to, Sisters of Mercy, Bauhaus, like the Reptile House, EP, Bowie, and he introduced me to like, Joy Division, right? And Sisters of Mercy. And I first heard Joy Division, I mean, like the song, She's Lost Control from him. And so we were like, you know, absolute beginners in a way. And he was always writing. He was always just, I'm talking about Thomas Roche, and he was always just obsessed with being probably a published author. And so um he would send things out to magazines, and he started to get acceptances because he was so prolific, and he's also a genius. And he and our friend Daniel Willis. The I don't know if people know who Daniel Willis is, but she's among other things, she was on the cover of, what was it, Spin magazine. She's a vampire, as well as she's a blood fetishist vampire and a poet who wrote the book Dogs in Lingerie, which was one of the books that was banned at the Canadian border. And so one thing led to another over the years, and I introduced him to, well, so going back to the whole Skip Inspector thing. So I used to go to this little bookstore in South Pasadena called Book of Mysteries, which had closed a couple of years ago, closed its doors, and they were cool little, little bookstore. I mean, it wasn't anything. It was like probably a little larger than my room here. And but they would have, because these are local people, right? They would have book signings by people like this guy. I don't know if you can see that, right? Um, is this showing up?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so yeah, so as you would say, so yeah, this is the inspiration for the basis for the Hitchcock film
Mm-hmm.
of the same name. And yeah, so
Oh,
um
oh, just a minute. Oh wow, that's incredible.
yeah,
Um, guys, I need to hop off for a sec.
okay, cool.
Um, dealing with a couple of small issues that just came up.
Small
I love you guys. Squeezes.
squeezins. Squeezins. Okay, so now it's just, wow. So it's just me, I guess. I'll be babbling to myself. Okay. So I hope people come back. Wow. So it's just me. Huh. Well, this is a little bit anticlimactic. What happened to Pickles? So I'm gonna wait for Pickles. Wow. Okay. Huh. Huh. Well, hmm. This is a little awkward. Wow. So that was a kind of, I guess I'll table the discussion about, you know, Skip and Spectre and all that stuff for a later date. But huh. Smol. Smol. So huh. Well, okay, so I'm gonna close up shop here and we can get this uploaded. All right. This has been Alex S. Johnson for the Small Bear Show with Ossiana Tepfenhart, Til Kumari Sharma, Alea Celeste Williams, and Are You Serious? And we'll be back on the 15th with our guests will be Richard Modiano, Amelie Frank, Mark Olmsted, Rick Lupert, and K.R. Morrison. So, okay, squeezy hugs. Bye bye.